Okay, so let's start off by talking about what exactly an influencer is. Now, this might be kind of a boring section, a boring part of the lecture, but I think it's important to know what the I would say official definition of an influencer is because it allows you to see the public perception of what it is that we're trying to do here. It gives you kind of the foundation of where you can build your business, from where you can build your platform. So, according to Wikipedia, influencer marketing is a form of marketing in which the focus is placed on influential people rather than the target market as a whole. It identifies individuals that have influence over potential buyers, and it orients marketing activities around these influencers. That's a great definition. It's very meaty, there's a lot to it, but the general idea is that influencer marketing is focused on a person and the influence that they have over their followers. That's honestly what makes influencers so attractive to potential sponsors, to different companies and brands. Now, Tap Influencer, I like this definition because Tap Influencer, they described an influencer as being a real relatable person who has attracted a loyal following on their blog and or social media channels. Now, personally, this definition is more in alignment with what I think an influencer is, or as I like to call them, flourishers. I believe a flourisher is an authentic individual, and it's someone that shares inspiring content, beautiful content, engaging content on their blog or social media channels to create a positive change, not only in the lives of their followers, but in the lives of the influencer themselves. Now, this results in them building up a loyal following, oftentimes a large following, and this allows them to become a powerful ally to different brands and social causes. Now, there are two categories of influencers. You've got independent influencers and sponsored influencers. Most influencers start out as independent, meaning they're not associated with any brand, any cause, campaign, or even product. They're just focused on sharing meaningful content with their followers. They're all about having fun and making a difference, and they're not worrying about compensation. Now, I call this the honeymoon phase, where you have the freedom to say what you want, post whenever you want, do what you want. Now, that's not to say you can't do this when you are sponsored, and believe me, being sponsored is great, and that's usually the end goal for becoming an influencer. But you do need to be a bit more mindful with your content when you do work with a company or a social cause. Now, sponsored influencers, they receive some type of compensation for their work, whether it be in the form of free products or monetary compensation. We're going to spend quite a bit of time discussing what goes into being a sponsored influencer, so sit tight because there's a lot of different things that you need to be aware of. We'll talk more about that later. So, why in the world would you want to become an influencer anyway? What is the benefit to it? Well, I see there being a few key reasons. The first is that you have the ability to work from home or really anywhere in the world that you have access to the internet. I often joke about being a stay at home dog mom. I have three dogs, and one we're pretty sure is a little special. She's got special needs. She requires a lot of constant attention. And being an influencer has allowed me to be home with the dogs during the day to take care of them, to play with them, and make sure that everything is good to go as far as the dog babies are concerned. I don't have any children, but I know a lot of what we call mommy bloggers out there who actually chose to become influencers because it allowed them to stay at home with their family while they were able to pull in a decent income. How cool is that? Another benefit to being an influencer is that you have the opportunity to work flexible hours. Now, when I first got started, I was a bit of a night owl. I would write all my blog posts at night, stay up late, brainstorming new content, and then share it while I was actually sitting in my bed. That was my office. But as I've gotten older and my schedule has shifted, I now get up super early in the morning. And I typically get up and work around 5 a.m., work a few hours, then spend some time going about everyday life, doing my chores, working on my hobbies, walking the dogs, doing all that good stuff. Then later in the afternoon, I'll check back in, I'll monitor my posts, see if there's anything I need to respond to, do some emails, and just basically take care of any business that needs to be handled. Now, the next benefit is actually a blessing and a curse. When you become an influencer, you will essentially become a bit of a public figure. This means you're going to have to deal with all that comes with the fame and fortune, so to speak. Okay, maybe not that extreme, but being an influencer does have its perks. You may be asked to appear on a local or even international media outlet. People may come up to you on the street and ask to take a picture. I have a very funny story about this that actually happened to me a few years ago. I was grocery shopping for myself and my boyfriend at the time, Jeff, he's my husband now, and he really, really, really wanted me to pick up a frozen pizza just for him. And if you know my work, you know my background. I am a nutritional therapist, so I eat pretty healthy, and frozen pizza is usually not on my menu. So I tossed one of these frozen pizzas into my basket, headed for the checkout line. And while I was standing in line, this lady behind me taps me on the shoulder and she asks, "Aren't you that gal with the nutrition website?" And I said yes. And she goes on and on telling me about how she loves my work and she's followed me, yada, yada. And then her eyes shift down to my basket and she gave the frozen pizza kind of this weird look. I basically had to spend the next few minutes sounding like a crazy person weirdo, explaining why I was buying this pizza, that it wasn't for me. And she was just looking at me like, "Who are you?" So that's kind of a funny story about you. You may get recognized in public. So whatever your industry is that you work in, whatever your mission is, make sure that it's true to you and have a game plan in line if you ever get caught doing something that's not in alignment with what it is that you're sharing on social media. A really cool benefit to being an influencer is that you get to try out new products. Yay! Who does not love getting free things in the mail? It's like Christmas. It's so fun. Now, this is what happens when you are typically a sponsored influencer, or at least you're associated with some brand. More often than not, companies will ask to send you their latest and greatest products to try out and review. As a nutritional therapist, I have been fortunate enough to try out tons of different types of products, superfood products from around the world for absolutely free. Now, in addition to free products, you will often receive press releases about these products, different types of events that are relevant to your industry, and promotions. But again, we'll talk more about this in another lesson because this is all what comes with being a sponsored influencer. There's a lot that goes into it, so I've dedicated an entire lecture just to that topic. Now, the next two benefits, they kind of go hand in hand. Being an influencer opens up your world to meeting a variety of people. Whether you're simply interacting with your fans online or you're actually meeting them in person, being an influencer is a great way to make friends and to establish new business connections. You may be asked to speak at events, which enables you to travel around the world. One of my most memorable speaking events actually took place in the Philippines, and when I was there, I met some incredible people and I learned a ton about the Filipino culture. It was just great, very memorable. Last but not least, being an influencer means that you are in control of your income. Depending on how you structure your business and how many hours you want to work, the sky's the limit when it comes to making money. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to be raking in the big bucks right out the gate. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, it takes energy, and you've got to become a working machine. You got to work hard, you got to work smart if you want to become a full-time influencer. It took me many years to get to where I am today, but that's why I'm here, and that's why you're taking this course. I've made all the mistakes for you. I know what it takes to be an influencer and what you need to do to work full-time, so I'm going to help you get there. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get started.